Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Dak shoulder-mounted machine gun mod, which is being made by user Degenerate Dak, who is adding into the Commonwealth a shoulder-mounted M2 Browning machine gun, which is ridiculous and I love it. I mean, this is Fallout, a game series that's known for weird and wacky weapons, so something like a shoulder-mounted M2 machine gun just makes all the sense and is wonderful. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what we do get with the shoulder-mounted M2, which in its most standard configuration will do 80 damage with a 50 caliber round, with a firing rate of 20, range of 203, accuracy of 62, and a pretty hefty weight of 48.1. That is quite a lot, and as you can see, this thing is beautiful. It is just such a wonderful looking gun on the modeling and texturing. I don't know why there's all this stuff bolted onto the back of an M2, but you know what? Again, it's Fallout. It's a jerry-rigged weird thing. So yeah, hey, roll with it. I'm just gonna roll with it. And just overall, the gun looks actually pretty darn neat. You have the definite M2 Browning right here, and then all the Falloutified things around it. And as for the actual usefulness, it's actually a pretty impressive and useful gun. Not a whole lot of modifications for it, but enough to change up the aesthetics to something you may like more, and of course add in more damage to make it more useful and valuable to you in the later game, which isn't too shabby. Now, of course, with the heavy weight, it does mean it's, well, gonna take up a lot of your inventory space, as it is a heavy gun, so you should basically expect that. And that does mean, though, that perk-wise, rather than, you know, what you'd normally expect for most ballistic weapons in this game, the heavy gunner perk is actually what's going to help scale up the damage on this thing. Because, I mean, it's a heavy gun. Very heavy. Now, as for how you do get your hands on one of these lovely things, well, it's pretty darn simple. You'll find it on various high-level gunners, as well as pretty much anywhere you might find a missile launcher, minigun, or Fat Man launcher. So it shouldn't take you too long to get one of these. The gunner part might be the harder one, you know, considering it is a high-level gunner that might have it, but, you know, other than that, the level list integration shouldn't be too bad at all. Now let's run on over here to take a look at what modifications we do have available for this thing, and interestingly, doesn't start with the receiver as the first category. It's down here. I don't know why I'm even bringing that up, but it's just strange. You know, almost every mod we look at, the receiver's always the first category. But here, it's the magazine, where we have either a small magazine, a medium magazine, or a drum magazine for the maximum capacity. And of course, rank 3 and gun nut. Now then, in the sights category, we have the standard iron sights, an anti-air sight, reflex sight, and even a short scope. Which you may be wondering, why would you want a short scope on a machine gun? But hey, trust me, there's a reason. We'll get to that in a little bit. You can actually turn this thing effectively into kind of a sniper rifle, which is real strange, but hey, Fallout, yay. Now then, in the muzzle category, we either have nothing, a muzzle brake, compensator, a suppressor for this giant thing, a very large axe-like bayonet, or even a shield for increased damage resistance. Now, of course, for these two, you're going to need Basher for bayonet and Armorer for the shield, but, you know, some nice fun things. I really do like the aesthetics of the shield in particular. Now, then we have, finally, the receiver category, where we have a standard, hardened, powerful, and advanced receiver, and either a technically, I mean, they're not really semi-automatic. You can still hold this thing down. It's going to continuously shoot. But you either have a slow-firing one and a fast-firing, quote-unquote, automatic receiver. Now, you can see here on the automatic ones, it's telling you to only use that with players because there's some issues if NPCs are using this particular receiver. So any that you're going to find out in the world from the level loot list, especially on a gunner, is going to have one of these receivers instead of one of these. Just because, again, just some issues, I think it was with animations and whatnot, but for yourself, it works just fine. Now, and then finally we have the barrel category, where we have either the standard and anti-air or sawn-off barrel, which is just hilarious to me, having a sawn-off shoulder-mounted M2 machine gun. That's just weird. But a thing to make note of, if you do go with the anti-air barrel or the sawn-off barrel, you will lose access to the muzzle category. You only get this if you are using the standard barrel. So just one thing to make note of there, you'll have one less modification you can make. But overall, you can make some pretty fun things with this. Over here, I did 2 modified versions, one being an M2 silenced sniper rifle, which is just strange, but I love it. And then an anti-aircraft one with the barrel with a heavy capacity magazine to just shoot all the bullets. Good times. So let's take a look at how this thing does fire with the standard version first. I actually really like the sight on the standard version. It's pretty good, has a good accuracy to it and very visible. It's one of the better iron sights I've actually seen on a gun in a while, which is great. So let's take some shots. And there we go. It's basically a small shoulder-mounted cannon, and I love that. And like I said, this one is using one of the more standard receivers rather than the quote-unquote automatic, but if I do hold down the mouse button, as I mentioned before, it is still just going to continuously fire. But yeah, that's what the NPCs are going to be using. Whereas, on the other hand, if I go to my quote-unquote automatic version, well, here's the firing rate you get there. Oops, I selected the wrong one. Of course I did. Of course I did. There we are. There's the right one. And with the anti-aircraft sight. Oh yeah. I love that. And it is a more proper sort of weapon to what you think of when you think an M2 Browning machine gun. It has that fast rate of fire, just tearing through your enemies. And at the damage that this particular one does, having the advanced receiver on there, bringing it up to the 152 damage, that's throwing a lot of damage down range with the maximum capacity magazine there, having that 40 rounds. Now then, of course, with the suppressed one down here, again, just kind of weird to have a suppressed M2 with a short scope, but effectively, this thing actually does become a pretty decent sniper rifle, dealing that, again, 152 damage with the advanced, but this is not the automatic advanced, just the normal advanced, so not the greatest of firing rate, but again, M2 sniper rifle. Gotta love it. Alright, well, let's go test this thing out on a proper enemy. Let's actually get back to the maximum capacity because, dear lord, I want to just saw a Deathclaw in half with this thing, hopefully. With my luck, though, and my usual aiming, probably not gonna go as well as I hope. Up to the stage to cheese him and die! Holy crap, he's dead. In 11 rounds. Beautiful, and I'm sure half of them missed with my god-awful aiming. Well, you know what? With how easy that was to take him down, let's bring another in and just die, Deathclaw! Die! Okay, I missed a lot more rounds that time, and my panic shooting, but still, dead Deathclaw. Good times. Let's reload, and actually, let's spawn in one and shoot him with the sniper one, just because, again, sniper M2 Browning machine gun is just weird, but okay. And there we go, a good shot there. He's trying to run. Die by Sniper M2. Beautiful. 5 shots. Good times. And overall, just a fun weapon. So you can get this thing, I'd say it's a very good mid to late game gun. And even though I generally avoid automatic weapons because of how awful I am at aiming, the power of this thing and just the fun of an M2 is so much fun to play with that I could definitely see myself using this thing quite a bit. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description, as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you have enjoyed and you come back for the next. But until that time, oh boy, he got launched. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.